opinions stated in this podcast do not reflect the opinions of the Alestle or SIUE as a whole. Welcome back to another episode of Alestle After Hours. Sam Mirren joining you here in studio. And again, we're back with more featuring of clubs. We're breaking out into the world a little bit, and specifically taking to the skies. We have the Bird Nerds Club featured this week, and I'll let my guests introduce themselves, actually.
Yeah, I'm Felicity. I'm the president of the Bird Nerds. I'm a EEC major, that's Ecology, Evolution, and Conservation, and I am a sophomore.
Awesome.
I'm Peyton Eldridge. I'm one of the beginning members of the group, and I'm a senior this year in my last semester.
Very cool. So we have you guys both on again, just kind of a brief rundown for our audience and even for you. Just a little bit of introducing about why is this a club? Because we have so many clubs here on campus, and it's good to know kind of how they originated, what their purpose is now, what they're planning in the future. So let's talk about tell me again what you guys are studying and how that led to birds, or if it's just an alternate obsession that you guys kind of have.
So, long story. I'll try to condense it. I've kind of been into wildlife in general my entire life, and then in 2020, stuck inside, I'm like, I need my dose of wildlife, and so I put up an old bird feeder I found. Eventually, I got bored and started identifying them, and then when things started opening back up, I went to the Festival of Spring at this local nature center, and there was a professor doing a bird banding demonstration, which, if you don't know, it's basically the birds fly into these nets, and then he takes them out, takes some measurements, and puts a band on their leg, which is a little bracelet with a number code on it, so if it's recaptured, you can kind of find that data again in a national database. Anyway, I saw that, and I was like, that's really cool. And he's like, yeah, we just opened a banding station that the public can visit. And so my mom and I went out there a bunch. And then we went so much that he was like, hey, I'll just teach you how to do this so you can help us out while you're here.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and so then I got into bird banding. And then a little while after I had done that for a while, he was like, hey, Milliken, that's where he taught, he was like, Milliken's hosting the ISAS. What's that stand for again? Illinois State Academy of Science. Sorry, he's like, we're hosting that this year. If you want to make a poster, I can register you as one of my students. I'm a senior in high school at this point, but I'm like, yeah, sure, man, that'll look good on a resume.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, really, and what a wild, you just went, and so it's just a passion, just because you liked identifying them?
Yeah, pretty much. I thought it was fun, and it kind of spiraled. But yeah, during my time banding, I got to know some of the members of the Decatur Audubon Society, and so I went out birding with them a bunch. And so that's how we finally get here. I am like, okay, I'm going to school. I need to find some people to go bird watching with. I'm going to miss this a lot. And so then, it's time to start a club.
Yeah. And so whenever someone has a passion, they immediately turn to the club or the Kimmel Center to try to create a club. No, that's a really great backstory. That's honestly a lot more than I thought it was going to be. I thought you were just going to say, well, I just like birds. And, I think that's what a lot of people would assume, but the name, because of the name, the Bird Nerds name. Yep. But it's more in depth, which is really cool.
Yeah, the name actually was my mom's idea when she likes to call me a bird nerd, and then I was like, I'm starting this club, and she's like, you should call it the Bird Nerds, and I'm like, yeah, okay.
No, that's what moms are for. They're for the best ideas, to be honest.
I mean, she's in marketing, so I'm like, I'll take your word for it if you think it's a good name.
At that point, I'd just take anything she said. Like, hey, Mom, can you design this? No, that's great. And no, the name, it's very clever and really neat. So, obviously, you started kind of breaking through last year with the club. Tell us about the process. I believe I remember seeing you at one of these things with student government for pitching the club, maybe. Because I think Mass Comm Club was around there. And I was actually, when I talked about this, I was like, I think Bird Nerds and I were there at the same time.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, it's so funny that you mentioned them because I'm like, great to hear they got off the ground, because I remember they were like
In the-
pitching their club right
Yes,
before I did.
Yes. I think I had Destiny on the other, or no, maybe we just were talking about the story that Destiny had done. Obviously you can check that out on Alestle Live in our lifestyle section. But and so I was like, yeah, we're like siblings. We're like twins. Our
For
clubs
real.
are our clubs are like distantly related. Well, what we need to do is collab and have like a camera on some birds or something.
Oh, that'd be fun.
I'll pitch
That'd be
that.
good.
I'll pitch that to the club. We'll see what they say. But no. So tell us a little bit about the process for you guys specifically.
Yeah, so first I think I reached out to the ornithology professor here and was like, hey, do you know how this kind of process would work if I wanted to start a club? And, or wait, maybe I went to the Kimmel first, and then they said you need an advisor, so I went to the ornithology professor. And then he kind of helped walk me through, was the process.
Yeah, Dr. Esner was already over a bunch of clubs, so he couldn't. And then he led us to Dr. Theodorakis, or
Right.
Dr. T. We call him Dr. T in the biology department. And he's a big bird nerd. Exactly. He's an older professor, but loves birds and is so knowledgeable about them. He can go on and on and on about birds.
Yeah, Peyton. So how did you kind of get dragged into this, into the whole bird nerds?
So I took ornithology with Dr. Esner last spring, and that's when the bird nerds was like starting to come off. And I love birds, so ornithology is like the study of birds. That's like the class is all about birds. I took that class, but I was in love with birds a long time before because I took zoology, and my professor had a whole section about how birds are amazing and how they're really closely related to dinosaurs, and like everybody loves dinosaurs, right?
Right.
So I got into the love of that. Well, me and one of my friends in the class were like, saw the posting for bird nerds, and we're both big bird nerds. So we scanned it and got involved.
I
And
think
it
he
just
was
kicked
even
like that.
I think he was counting some of the Bird Nerds events as extra credit for the class.
Yeah. Shh, we'll put that on the down low. No, I'm just kidding. That's great. And so obviously the club kind of goes through the similar process that all clubs do. And that process is very tedious, as you may know, and I also know, and everyone knows that has a club. But we'll leave that part out of it, the pain and suffering of it. Let's jump into kind of, so you get this club, and what do you do? What do you do with a club that just is around birds?
Yeah, so started out kind of Audubon inspired, just going to local nature areas, sometimes walking the gardens on campus. There's also Watershed that's like 10 minutes from here, really pretty place. And so we kind of just go bird watching most of the time. I'm trying to branch out a bit more into like maybe organizing some volunteer opportunities. We have a movie night coming up. Peyton, what have your favorite events been?
So most of the ones we've been to are like nature-wise. Like you don't even have to be like in love with birds to go with us. We do a lot of just like going out into nature and just walking. It's not always just like we're centered around just let's look at the birds. Yes, of course we look at the birds, but we also have a bunch of people that are into plants and just into just being in nature. And so we're not like strictly birds. Yes, bird nerds. So we do look at birds, but Watershed is usually one of our best popular ones to go to just because it is an amazing area with a lot of birds. It's surprisingly a very good migratory stop for birds. So you always find unique birds that are there, some that are not super common in Illinois. So you'll find some that are like in between migratories and leaving. So that's pretty cool. And that's what we like. That's probably one of the best things. It's just like we get to see something that we usually won't see here in Illinois.
Yeah, and I didn't know that about Watershed. That's really neat. So,
Yeah.
I mean, for those that aren't in the Bird Nerds Club, they can at least go and find that for themselves. But I think it's interesting you bring up that it's not just about birds and that it is about kind of just nature in general. Not to say, like, obviously it is centered. I get what you mean.
Yeah.
But, like, still, it's really neat that you've had people that come along like, hey, I know a lot about plants. And really, you could tie it back to birds because, you know, or whatever that may be. So what's kind of been your experience with like people with the curiosity, and obviously you guys seem very well informed on birds, so how can you like share that with those people?
Yeah, I mean, it's always cool when people can like identify plants and stuff, and I'm like, hey, this kind of bird likes to hang around that plant. There's some sort of relationship here.
It's just
I
a
totally lost my
unique.
train of thought.
No, you're good.
So we do the involvement fair every year. So we always like end up getting people coming and looking at us, and we'll get per se taxidermy birds from our museum. If you didn't know, we have a museum on campus with full of specimens
No,
of birds, fish, and everything.
Wow.
And we'll go and borrow some from the museum and put it on our table and just be like, these are the type of birds you can see in Illinois. Like, and some people walk up and be like, oh, I've seen this bird before, but I didn't know it was that. And then we can go into the whole theory about like fun facts about that bird and like why you should join our club, because you can learn more about birds. It's not even like you can know nothing about birds and join our club. We'll explain to it, because just like I've known birds for years, so I know a bunch of fun facts in this head about birds. So it's hard to like not find somebody that is not wanting to know birds, but if they don't want to know birds, that's okay.
Yeah.
We do a lot of stuff, but we are very much bird involved, so we tend to that crowd.
Yeah, it's almost like an icebreaker, where you mentioned it's like, oh, I've seen that, and I didn't know that was its actual name or whatever. So, no, it's really neat. And again, it's like it's a fun club. And so, let's talk about some of the goals, because I know you guys have done, and you kind of mentioned it earlier, the Charles Darwin, or we didn't mention it earlier, but I saw on your Instagram that you guys had celebrated Charles Darwin's 217th birthday, and I saw the cake, and I was like, oh man, I'm kind of jealous I didn't get a piece of cake. I wish I had interviewed you a couple days earlier. Just talk about maybe that event a little bit and some of the other events. I know you also went to the World Bird Sanctuary recently. Was that recent?
So we didn't go to the World Bird Sanctuary. We went to Riverlands Migratory Bird Sanctuary, but then World Bird Sanctuary was like collaborating with them and brought some of their education birds and did a little presentation there.
Very cool.
So yeah, that was a cool time. They had some eagles we got to see up close, and then we got to look through some scopes across like the river and find some wild eagles. What was the other thing you asked about? Darwin Day.
Yeah, Darwin Day.
So that's been like a tradition
every year.
Yeah, that's been a tradition in the biology department for like 10 years now. But this year, Dr. T contacted me and was like, hey, just an idea, like it would be kind of cool if you could set up some sort of lunch where students could get to meet the guest speaker. And I was like, yeah, that sounds like a fun event to sponsor. So we got that set up. It was pretty popular. People had some good questions for her.
Yeah. I mean, that's a pretty big deal if you ask me, getting a guest speaker and to do a luncheon with them. Just kind of going back to so what was the name of the sanctuary that you did go to?
It was Riverlands.
Riverlands. So what was that like, just kind of organizing that event? And obviously it's kind of a big deal. And you said bald eagles were there too?
Yeah, so that wasn't something that our club organized. It was just like something the Audubon organized. They kind of own that property. And so that was just an event they had going on. And I was like,
the club
hey.
should go.
I was like, yeah,
Yes.
hey, y'all, we should go to this.
I mean, hey, what's better than that, right? Joining in on something. So I'm sure that was a big step for the club too, especially early on,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've definitely been trying to like get some connections going with the local Audubon Society. I've been talking to some people, and apparently there's a program I just found out about called Audubon on Campus. And so you can kind of like collaborate with Audubon to get some resources for birding clubs. And so I actually have a call with somebody on Monday to talk about that. So hopefully that'll give us some pretty cool opportunities.
Yeah, sounds like some exciting opportunities. Well, let's kind of lead into that with like upcoming stuff or what kind of events that people can be on the lookout for that the Bird Nerds might sponsor or host or whatever.
Yeah.
We'll probably have some postings coming up that'll be like outings. Say we usually do a watershed in the spring because it's about getting to where our native birds are coming back. So we will get into let's go to watershed and see if we can find anything, or we may hit campus. The gardens is usually a good area for just if we have local people, because the watershed is in Edwardsville, but it can be hard for people that don't have vehicles. So we can always hit the gardens and just look for our native birds that are coming back to us.
Gotcha. Cool.
Yeah, like Peyton said, we have like a lot of walks. That's probably our main type of event. Also in April, we were invited to have a table at the Edwardsville Earth Day event. So I'll probably see if any club members want to volunteer and tell some people in the public about what we're doing.
Very cool. So I guess before we transition to kind of the ending of the show, let me ask you a bit about like just what's it kind of been for you. So you said you've been a starting member, correct?
Yes.
What's it been like as just seeing the club kind of start last year and now it's about a year in, or maybe a little over a year, getting close to that. What's it kind of like watching it grow, and what have you gotten the most out of it for both of you?
So, like, when we started, there was maybe, like, 4 members. There was not that many members. And now we're getting into where we have, like, 10 or 15 members or right around there. So we've gained a lot of members over just doing events, holding events, making connections with other clubs. So, like, we do a lot of, like, talking with the Wildlife Conservation
Yeah, we
Club.
collaborate with them a lot.
And we just get out there and just, like, try to get people involved. And now it's grown a lot. And from whereas trying to figure out events last semester, now we're more solid on events. We did, like, a bird trivia. And that had quite a few people actually show up. And we had 2 people that actually didn't know anything about birds showed up just to learn some bird trivia. So.
There you go.
Yeah, that was a pretty fun one. That actually got, like, a couple new members, I think. But
yeah, we're slowly growing, and like I said, I'm graduating this semester, so I will be out of here, but of course that I'm excited to keep in contact with Felicity and see how things go, and hope that the bird nerds will grow more.
Yeah, for sure. Felicity, anything that you've taken away from kind of helping start the club and now oversee it?
I mean, I think it's helped me build a lot of, like, leadership skills. Obviously, my top priority wasn't, like, this looks good on a resume, but in hindsight, it probably has helped me a lot. I mean, I've had to write so many emails the past couple months.
No, that's so funny you say that because it's so true. You're like, oh man, that's just like my 900th email of the day. Not class related. It's awful. But no, that's funny and great.
Yeah, no, but I mean, it's all been worth it. It's been so much fun. I've met so many cool people. Like, yeah.
Awesome. All right, well, let's transition here into kind of you'll see at the bottom of your paper, obsessions, and you're probably thinking like, well, we're obsessed with birds, right? No. So basically at the end of our show every week, we do like a weekly obsession. So you see mine is country music, which for whatever reason, country music has taken over my playlist. I don't have an answer for it. I don't know why, but there it is. It's every time I turn on the music app, it's country music. So that is my obsession of the last week, and now I'll turn it over to you. I'll give you a moment to think about it because it's kind of a tough thing. It doesn't have to be bird related, but it can if you want it to be, if you want to keep with the theme. But it can be anything. Like we've had coffee that people drink, music, movies, shows, anything that you're just absolutely obsessed with.
I'll start. I've been watching The Rookie, which is on Hulu.
That's a cop show, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
I've
yes.
been very obsessed with that recently.
Hey, that's great. No, that's good. I get all the TikTok clips from that. That's mine. That's like, you know, when you get those shows that just keep. Yeah, The Rookie is one of them, and I have no idea what's going on, but I sit there and watch it every time.
Okay, I have this, like, really specific, like, channel page, I don't know, on Instagram Reels. I just recently started watching them, and one of my friends' like feed has immediately become mine. And there's this one type of video. It's this horse. I don't know if any of you have seen this, but it's just this horse with like vaguely inspirational quotes.
Oh.
And it's like I'm trying to think of, it's so dumb. Like
Feel free to look it up. This is funny to
please,
me. Like, no.
No, hold on. I need to find an example. This one. Okay, it has this, like, fancy font photo of a horse, and it says, "Turn your swag on, white boy."
What?
I don't know. They're so stupid.
Yeah, no, that's...
No, but also the whole thing is that, like, each video is, like, directed at a different, weirdly specific demographic.
Oh,
and
that's
so then there will be ones that are like, love yourself, bisexual girl.
wow. And it's just a horse.
It's just a horse. It's always a horse.
It's like targeted, but it's like throwing a dart at a dartboard, and you're just bound to hit something. You know?
Exactly.
Wow. Okay. That is. You know what? I'll give you a hats off for most obscure obsession I've had in a while. Which thank you. Like that's what this whole part is about. Wow. How am I supposed to end on this note? I don't even know. How about this? I'll just say, Felicity, Peyton, thank you so much for joining the show. Obviously, this is only really our third edition of kind of featuring clubs, and it goes a long way because it shows the things that you didn't know, how a club started and the story behind that. So I'm glad you got to come on and share your passion, and also maybe hopefully it'll let some other people that have the same passion find out about you and join up, because we need more people learn about birds.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yes.
All right, so with that, you can tune into Alestletics, which is also released at 10 a.m. this Saturday morning, and that will be Audrey and myself all on sports, so tune into that, as well as you can tune into this next week on next Saturday. We'll have more show for you then, and don't forget to follow the Alestle on at alestlelive.com, but also on Instagram, TikTok, X, all of the above. You know them all, and we will see you again next week. Bye.